Hi, I'm Chris Rogers from Rockin' Waves 11294, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on Spreaker.com and YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I am the WrestleGamer, Donald B. Bujo, and this is going to be the Monday Night Raw for the week of December 29th, 2014. And let me say, guys, what an interesting show to talk about that we had last night. So let's go ahead and get things started. Let me introduce the panel for this week's Monday Night Raw review, which is going to be the final Raw review for 2014, guys. First off, ladies and gentlemen, from Rockin' Waves 11294, he is back, Chris Rogers. Chris, how you doing?
Konnichiwa.
And ladies and gentlemen, the guy who just got offended by that statement from the Houdat Temple, James with the Big Easy. James, how you doing?
You know, I like to announce my retirement. Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this week's episode of Monday Night Raw would be kind of the host of, with Edge and Christian on there. These guys still got it. When it comes to working the microphone, these guys still have their mic skills. They have not lost a step, especially when it comes to that E and C goodness that we're all accustomed to seeing. Yes! Yes! Okay.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's that same ENC goodness that, they totally reek of awesomeness. And I like the fact that they kind of merged their shows together, the Cutting Edge and the Peep Show, and they kind of call it the Cutting Edge Peep Show. And they were going to have Seth Rollins on as a guest, plus they made a couple of good matches. But then, things just went, well, let me just say this. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman would come out, which then prompted John Cena to come out. John Cena said he had a resolution for Bork Laser, because I don't respect him enough to call him Brock Lesnar. It's Bork Laser. He said his resolution would be to take the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from him, and I'm going to say maybe about 25% of the crowd agree with it, because apparently it was 25% pro Cena, 75% ignorant haters. That's all I'm saying, and they kind of hard time figuring out who they hate more.
You gotta have to understand, this is the Northeast, and the Northeast is more known to hate Cena.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you do bring up an interesting point there, but that's pretty much how they left it, Besides, they have to build something, and I kind of figured we wouldn't see Lesnar again until Royal Rumble, or at least a week before Royal Rumble, so I'm kind of shocked they actually brought him for the final Monday Night Raw of the year. Opening matchup was another one that
he's actually advertised for the New Orleans show, which I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Well, the first matchup tonight was champion versus champion. It was Dolph Ziggler taking on Rusev, and again, time in and time out. Whenever Ziggler is working with anyone, he makes them look that much better. Now, were they going to have Ziggler get a solid win? And have him be the actual first person? I figured they wouldn't go that route. I kind of halfway expected James to see either like a count-out or disqualification victory for Ziggler, and that's kind of what we got out of that.
Like Flash kind of froze on me, and basically what it is that. Yeah, that's what I expected, because really, you have Rusev, who hasn't been pinned or submitted, and you have Ziggler, who has been on that high, ride since he was the sole survivor at Survivor Series. So, really, do you want to give it to Rusev to kill the momentum for Ziggler, or do you want something like Ziggler winning, but not winning by a pinfall?
I have a feeling that that as far as Rusev's undefeated streak goes, I think we're not going to see a defeat out of him till probably pay-per-view or WrestleMania.
Well, if they're really working the angle they're doing right now with Rusev and Ryback at the Royal Rumble, it's feasible that they could do it there, because Royal Rumble is one of the big four pay-per-views. But anyway, speaking of Ryback, what I really found interesting after that, Chris, was the promo that Ryback was cutting. Apparently, it was like a brief history lesson of his stint in WWE, standing back to when he was in the Tough Enough show of sorts in 2004. You know, when they got eliminated as Ryan Reeves, and then he would come back as Skip Sheffield, which we all know he was part of the Nexus, and then he would then talk about some of the injuries he had, and at that point, I was kind of wondering what direction were they going with this. You know, what direction were they taking the gimmick of Ryback in there? Now, some people say it wasn't really a good promo. I kind of disagree with that because it kind of showed a different side to Ryback. You know, he wasn't like the cocky, arrogant bully Ryback or the guy that just went around saying "feed me more." It was still an interesting promo because, like I said, it kind of left us wondering, you know, where are they going with this? You know, why are they having Ryback go out there and kind of give a brief history lesson of what he did? And he also talked about how he's turning all of his negatives and he eats them and turns them into positives. Therefore, that's why he kind of says, "Feed me more," you know, kind of giving a little background to saying something like that. And it was an interesting promo. Chris, what was your take on it?
It answered a lot of questions that a lot of people had with Feed Me More and some of the stuff he did. And in my opinion, and here's what I feel about it, I did not even know he was part of Tough Enough back in 2004. And so that was news to me. And so it really was a very interesting promo. It answered a lot, in my opinion, it answered a lot of questions that people may have had about his character, and some things that were left unanswered, now finally brought to light.
Really, what also brought to me was that I was surprised that they brought up like him being in Tough Enough and him being in the Nexus, you know, because, you know, Ryback is a different gimmick than the Skip Sheffield and, you know, him being on Tough Enough. I really thought they wasn't gonna go give that history that, you know, people didn't know about.
I'm just glad that they dropped the Skip Sheffield gimmick because, if I remember correctly, wasn't Skip Sheffield sort of a redneck?
The corn-fed meathead, I believe they were kind of coining him when he was Skip Sheffield, but it just really wasn't taken with the crowd. Following that, we would have Natalya and Nikki Bella. James, what the hell was this crap?
Really, I thought this was to help Natalya be in front to be the #1 contender for the Divas Championship. It just turned into total Divas crap. Let's say that.
I didn't watch the match, so that probably tells you how interested I was.
The thing is that all it was that what? Maybe 2 offensive moves. Nikki Bella gets caught by Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd drops her. And then, you know, Natalya brings her back in. Brie Bella argues with Tyson Kidd. All of a sudden, you get Nikki hitting like a forearm and then hit the rack attack. That's nothing. Why would they do that unless something happens to where there's a new #1 contender? Because now this answers the question, who in the hell is the #1 contender?
At this point, I'm inclined to say Tyson Kidd.
Daddy's wife.
Following that, guys and gals, we would have the WWE Tag Team Championship would be on the line as the Miz and Damian Mizdow would defend against the Usos, and with the looming debut of Victor and Connor, known as the Ascension. You know, there were about 50 to 75% of us, including yours truly, were halfway expecting them to debut during this match and kind of make a statement that they're the new dominant tag team in WWE, but it really didn't go that route. And really the surprising thing is that they actually had Miz and Mizdow drop the titles to the Usos. Now, with the prolonged celebration that they had, you know, I was thinking, oh, they keep going this, they're extending this, that, and they're going to have Ascension debut and attack the Usos. And they didn't do that either. So what exactly were they going to do with Victor and Connor, the Ascension? What were they going to do for them in their debut? You know, that was the big question for me. But the also other surprising thing, Chris, to see is that the Usos are once again tag team championship. I thought Miz and Mysterio were doing good as a tag team championship. I was actually kind of surprised to see them drop the titles to the Usos last night.
I think that, you know, and I agree with you. I think they were doing a good job with tag teams. In addition, I mean, you know, with Miz getting the boos and Mizdow getting all the hoorays. You know, in my opinion, I mean, I think I would like to see where they go with Mizdow and the Miz at this point. But right now, I think they should just drop the Miz, because this movie career thing, give me a freaking break. And I had to watch my language there because I think this is PG. So, yeah.
Well, one can slip every now and again, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So, I mean, he's trying to what the Miz is doing is kind of reminding me in The Rock, only the Miz is making it retarded. That's all I'm saying.
Well, without the movie star gimmick that he's running right now, they really couldn't have Damien Mizdow being the stunt double. It wouldn't make any sense for them to work that kind of a gimmick unless the Miz was actually working a movie star gimmick, and that's what they're doing. But yeah, again, guys, new tag team champions in the Usos. Following that, Cesaro would be in the ring. And guys, I want to clue you in on a little something I read on eWrestlingNews.com, because we've been kind of seeing Tyson Kidd and Cesaro kind of off again, on again, be tag team champions, and they actually released a name for them as the tag team champions. And
tag team champions? They never held the belt.
No, as a tag team is what I meant to say. They released a name for them.
Yeah, and I know they released a name, but you said tag team champions.
Yeah. At the same time, I apologize about that. But they're calling themselves the Masters of the Universe. And I'm halfway expecting to have Cesaro go out there saying, "I have the power!" I wonder how many people actually got that He-Man reference. But Cesaro would actually go out saying that, you know, he doesn't care about flashy entrances. He doesn't care about pyrotechnics and stuff like that. He cares about being in the ring and being the best at what he does, and that's wrestling. And there are a lot of wrestling enthusiasts, including myself, that would kind of agree to that logic, that a lot of the flashiness really isn't necessary in the product today. But apparently, you know, it's entertainment, it's what sells, and that's what they do. But we got a number of surprising returns, and ladies and gentlemen, he's back, and James, he had some bad news.
Yeah, this was really, you know, I never expected him versus Cesaro in this one. I thought it was gotta be like somebody random that would beat Cesaro, but this was an interesting match with Bad News Barrett coming back. It's like, I'm afraid I got some bad news. I'm gonna put my bull helmet elbow to your shiny head, and that's what it had. What happened? So now the question answers: is he a face now?
Yeah, it appears that.
Yeah, it sure does, because for once they're actually giving Wade Barrett a gimmick that actually is over with the crowd. The Bad News Barrett gimmick. You know, I said it like when he started debuting the gimmick, I think last March, around that, I think it was around that time, you know, that, you know, could this be a gimmick that works for Barrett? And to say the least, yes. Yes, and it's a gimmick that's actually over, and I gotta say, it was good to see him back. It was good to see him back up.
It was December 2013.
All right. Following that, we would have Jack Swagger and Luke Harper for some odd reason. This was basically, if you ever have come in face to face with Luke Harper like this, try to sleep at night after that, because I guarantee you probably can't. I promise you that. But it's adding to the gimmick of, you know, how he's always watching you and stuff like that, which kind of adds to the air of creepiness that he's already had when he was part of the Wyatt family gimmick. The matchup in itself really wasn't that bad. So it was actually a pretty decent match. The finish, of course, was the discus clothesline from Luke Harper, and I love the name that JBL gave it on commentary, and I thought it was hilarious. And only a guy who was primarily known for using a clothesline finisher can actually coin the phrase for someone new using a clothesline finisher, the clothesline from Smell. I love that name. I think they should stick with that one for Luke Harper.
Amen to that, especially since he looks like a lawn worker after a few days.
Yeah, so like I said, only a guy like JBL could coin a phrase like that, and I think WWE should actually stick with that. I thought that was actual gold. Now, whether it was someone told him to say it or he came up the top of his head, it really doesn't matter. I think they should go with it. Now, one of the matches made also by Edge and Christian was Roman Reigns taking on Seth Rollins. Now, with Big Show looming on commentary, the actual probability of him interfering in the matchup went really, really, really high, like 99.9999999%. And I said it time in and time out, guys. When wrestling becomes predictable, it becomes boring. And with Big Show on commentary, and he did a pretty good, decent job on commentary, selling over the fact, him being heel and what happened at Survivor Series. I just wish they wouldn't go too off-kilter on commentary, because to me, it kind of takes away from the match and the guys that are actually in the match working it, in my opinion. But then again, maybe that's just the commentator part of myself talking about it. Maybe I'm just being too overly critical on it. But commentary in WWE has sucked as of late, and it really hasn't been good. And they really need to do something about it. But anyway, they would have Big Show attack Roman Reigns, of course, causing disqualification, and Big Show would toss Reigns over the announce table and then have the announce table dumped on him. And I gotta say, they're really doing I want to say, James, they're kind of doing a decent job of building this angle between the two. And one would think they would probably have the cultivation of the feud maybe at Royal Rumble.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because the reason why is that unless both of them were in the Rumble, that's my only reason, because they have to be fighting in the Rumble. But would you have them in an extra match, or would you have them like maybe a Raw before?
Well, possible. It's very possible that we could see that happening, but I just don't want it to become predictable. And I called it. Even my twin sister called it. When Big Show there on commentary, they inserted him there to do what? To interfere in the match, and that's exactly what happened. Now, following that, we would have Daniel Bryan sent out a tweet. James, you want to? What was exactly the tweet he sent last night before the show?
The tweet says, and I quote, "Everyone comes to a crossroads in their life, and I come to mine. I look forward to telling you all about it tonight on Raw."
Now, when a lot of people saw this tweet, because I even saw a lot of the comments, a lot of the hashtags, a lot of people were saying that Daniel Bryan was going to announce his retirement, given the past injuries he's had this past year, with his neck and everything, that how he's having to have additional surgeries. He even mentioned a little bit, and he looked like he was starting to choke up a little bit during that, and it kind of gave the ire, that he was going to retire and announce his retirement. However, though, he would shock a lot of people and saying that his career is not over, and in fact that he would also be entering the Royal Rumble. Now, I'm going to ask this to both of you guys. In your personal opinion, given the health issues and what Daniel Bryan has had to go through this past year concerning his neck, do you guys, James, I'm going to start with you. Do you guys feel that he made the right decision?
That's actually a good question. Really, the question is we don't because we asking is how healthy is he? Nobody knows how healthy he is. The only people that would know is Daniel Bryan himself and the doctors, and maybe WWE,
and his wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Bree doesn't want to talk about that health stuff. But really, it's that I think he's taking the risk, but at the same time, he wants to end it his way. He don't want to be that. You don't want to see this last moments, getting beat up by Kane and all of them, basically.
Chris, what about you? Do you think that Daniel Bryan made the right decision?
I think I think yes. I mean, we all know that Daniel Bryan has always been resilient when it comes to injuries and being held back and stuff. I mean, he's overcome unbelievable obstacles in his career. I mean, from being in NXT to being fired. I think he was fired twice, was it?
I think so.
And I mean, he still came back. With the Yes movement still fully in force. I mean, yeah, I was not surprised, but I was a little worried because I did think maybe it would have been retirement, but after the open of the show, I knew it wasn't retirement because a lot of times, if someone was going to retire, they would have put it at the beginning of the show. So
yeah, circa what happened with Edge back in 2011.
Exactly. So I'm thinking.
I don't think Edge retired at the beginning. I think he retired in the middle.
He came out at the beginning of Raw. It was probably middle of SmackDown, but on Raw he came out at the top of the show because.
Let me double check that episode.
Because he said that, or someone from Raw, I think it was Edge, said that earlier that day that he has a big announcement on Raw. And but with Daniel Bryan, I was after I kind of ruled out retirement, I was thinking one, he's gonna come back and be in the Royal Rumble, and this was very far. This was like 2% possibility. 2% possibility that he would be the host of WrestleMania, which I kind of ruled out. But it was a little predictable at what he was going to do, but when he started making his announcement, that sort of retirement thing sort of started creeping back in. But I do believe he made the right decision to not end his career and to keep going. I truly believe.
Well, at one point in the evening, Damien Mizdow and The Miz would approach Edge and Christian in the back and complain to them about what happened with the tag team title match and demanded a rematch immediately for the championship. And Edge said, you know what, we'll give you a match, but it will not be against the Usos, and it will not be for the titles, and it's up next, but we're not going to tell you who it is. And lo and behold, we've been wondering all night long, when they were going to debut, and they debuted right then and there. The Ascension rose to the occasion, guys and gals, as they pretty much just toned Damien Mizdow, just made him look really, really like a chump, to be honest. And I was kind of wondering, what exactly they would do to have them debut as part of the main roster. I don't like the fact that the way JBL was putting them over. They were one of the most dominant tag teams in NXT. The way they built them up, one of the longest reigning NXT tag team champions. And then they had JBL saying on commentary that he felt bad for Victor and Connor because the Miz and Damien Mizdow were in a bad mood. And I'm like, really? You just recently described them as one of the most dominant tag teams from NXT, and now you're going to say you feel sorry for them because the Miz and Mizdow were in a bad mood? I really don't think that was a smart thing to say on commentary, to say the least. I could be wrong about it, but that was just something I heard. I got to say, James, do you agree with the way that they debuted the Ascension?
No, I think what would have been better was what you said earlier with the Usos, is that have them attack the Usos after they won the tag team title. Say, look, we'll come after your championship. If you give them you basically made Miz and Mizdow tag team champions all the way down to Jobber. Yeah. And that's not the right move. I think what would have been best is that you have Miz and Mizdow lose the title. All of a sudden, they were all celebrating, woo! And then all of a sudden you see the Ascension come out and beat the hell out of them. But it's WWE.
Yeah, it's WWE creative, and
I also like the Illuminati stuff for the Ascension fits them.
Yep, and guys and gals, we also want to have a special guest, a monkey. Monkey, what are your thoughts about the Ascension, Monkey? Or goat? Very, very insightful commentary there, Monkey. Thank you for your comments. But Anyway, guys and gals, as we get off the bananas and get to the finale of Monday Night Raw, which was
that's bad.
The cutting edge peep show with Seth Rollins. Now, Seth Rollins would say earlier in the night that he was going to invite John Cena out to kind of do a New Year's toast. Now, he would first call out Big Show to come out and do a New Year's toast, and then they would call in John Cena. John Cena first didn't come, and then Seth Rollins said, "You know what? Cena, you forced my fan to force yours," and they would attack Christian, and then Seth Rollins would threaten to break the neck of Edge if Cena did not reinstate the Authority back in power, and begrudgingly so, Cena agreed to it, and now the Authority is back in the WWE. And we've been wondering ever since Survivor Series what exactly they would do storyline-wise to put the Authority back in power, considering that John Cena is solid face whether fans like him or not, and the Authority were heel. You know, and 9 times out of 10, the face wouldn't really do anything to help the heel unless there was a situation that forced the face, and ergo in this case, John Cena, to reinstate the heels because of the looming threat of the broken neck by Edge. And I'm gonna say though, Chris, it was an interesting thing to see the way they brought him back. I don't think a lot of people halfway expected the last episode of Monday Night Raw in 2014 to end the way they did it by bringing the Authority back to power. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. And I'm gonna say this about that, Chris. I gotta say bravo to WWE, because that was a really unique way to bring them back.
Well, I knew it was only a matter of time, because if you notice, the past few weeks, Rollins has been trying different ways to force John Cena to bring back the Authority. Now, with the Authority back, I mean, they're really going to have to do some sort of change to keep me interested, because if they just come back and do the same thing they've been doing, I mean, it's stale bread. It's like stale bread. Once it's stale, it ain't coming back. So,
James, well, go ahead.
So basically, I mean, the whole Authority with them basically worshiping the pee that comes out of Seth Rollins. You know, basically it's stale, and I think if they don't change it, they're probably going to lose a viewer or two.
James, let me ask you this question: do you think they chose the right time to bring the Authority back into the storyline, to bringing them back on TV?
I think it is the right decision, because I'm gonna go back. I want to go back some first. You were talking about the heel bringing back the face had to bring back the heel. I think the same situation kind of called when Stone Cold had that same authority over Vince, but no one knew about it. This one, you knew that Cena had the authority, can bring back the Authority, so Seth Rollins had to do it. So it's a little different on different ways, but I think it's the right idea, because there's the reports that they was gonna do some big WrestleMania, start the big WrestleMania storyline next Monday. I'm not too sure. I've been hearing so much reports, but I highly doubt it will happen. But if it does, could this mean Sting comes back?
I think I was about to suggest that. I mean, could we see a Sting appearance at Royal Rumble?
Or even on a Monday Night Raw? If Sting were to appear on a Monday Night Raw, guarantees. Imagine the impact. You know, we already had Sting's debut in WWE back at Survivor Series, and now his debut on Monday Night Raw. That is a huge ratings grab, because it is indeed a huge deal in the wrestling industry to have someone as iconic as Sting to debut on Monday Night Raw. It is a guaranteed draw, guys. But anyway, on that note, guys and gals, it is now time to go into the Facebook fan comments on this week's Monday Night Raw. And this first comment comes from our old friend Casey Cunningham. Casey said, however bad the ending to Raw was, there's a silver lining, and that is Edge and Christian are also going to be GMs on SmackDown. I believe the story will will be, since Cena was forced to say yes to the Authority, will not forced to say yes, the Authority will not be allowed to return. Raw was still decent. Reigns versus Rollins was pretty good, and when Show threw him over the table and flipped it over, it was great TV. The Divas match sucked, and I'm guessing the team of Tyson Kidd and Cesaro isn't happening since Tyson is trying to bang John Cena's Bella. But last time I checked, I don't think they're dating anymore. Last time I checked, but anyways. Go ahead.
I'll double check on Total Divas.
All right, Cesaro is helping other stars to get a push while he's staying low Carter. Swagger versus Luke Harper was a lot better matchup than I expected. Swagger just can't get over with fans. He was going for the Swagger bomb and threw his hands up, trying to get cheers, but fans only like the "We the People" line for real. Ziggler versus Rusev was good. I still think WWE is trying to give Ryback a good image of because of what CM Punk said about him. And you know what? Casey Cunningham does bring up an interesting point about that. But anyway, the next comment would be from Quinton Version. And Quinton says, Rollins should have cashed in and became the new world champion to start off 2015. Then the Authority back. You got to think for yourself sometimes, and he does it the wrong way. WWE Creative made a wrong segment. Well, that's really open to interpretation, Quentin, to be rather honest. And then Brandon Love, the final comment this week, says, now it's going to suck again. Forget the WWE. TNA is better. With TNA moving to Destination America, which is a much smaller channel than the Spike TV network, it's kind of hard to agree with that assessment there, Brandon. Because TNA is going to lose a lot of fans and lose a lot of viewership because of the channel move, and a lot of
NXT's better.
Yeah, NXT is, I've said it before, it's the saving grace of WWE. If you haven't checked it out yet, you really should. On that note, guys and gals, it's now time to go into our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. The final Monday Night Raw of 2014, hosted by Edge and Christian. It indeed was a decent show. Like I said before the onset of the review, when it comes to mic skills, Edge and Christian have not lost a step. They're really good when it comes to that. They really know how to sell the promo. I love the wacky stuff they were doing backstage, and also reminiscing and doing some of the old things like doing the themes with the kazoo. I love that. I thought that was hilarious, because that's classic E&C right there. And the fact that they kind of melded the show to calling it the Cutting Edge Peep Show, I thought that was a brilliant move. I thought it was a decent move by that, especially when they were kind of competing in the opening segment, kind of trying to diss each other's show, calling Edge kind of calling the Peep Show something bad you would see from the 1920s in a porn or something like that, and I thought that was hilarious. I gotta say this though, overall it was indeed a very decent show. I really can't say anything too bad about it. As far as best match of the night, I really got to look to Ziggler and Rusev. And let me tell you why. Dolph Ziggler has really come on strong, especially in the latter part of 2014. Look at the big push that he's been given so far. He was the winning member at Survivor Series. He got the final pin on Seth Rollins. He had a fantastic ladder match at TLC against Luke Harper for the Intercontinental Championship and won it. And we've been saying for a long time, whenever Dolph Ziggler is in a match with anyone, it makes it 10 times better, because it makes him 10 times more entertaining. And he can make anybody look good, even someone as, staggery and lumpy as Rusev. I don't know if lumpy was the right adjective to use against Rusev, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about when I name Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev best match of the night, with a big honorable mention to the promo following that by Ryback, because I thought it was a unique and interesting way to take a new direction with the character of Ryback. Because ever since he came back strong as a face, which is the better thing to do for the Ryback character, because what did he do as a heel? Nothing. And I really like the fact that they kind of gave some meaning to the term "feed me more" when he does it. When talking about eating the negativity and turning them into positives. And to me, that's also a positive motivational thing right there. Not that he's taking a dig at DDP's blatant gimmick from WWE, but because it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But I gotta say, it's a unique way for them to go with the Ryback character, and I gotta say, I kind of agree with it. A lot of people are saying that the promo wasn't that good. I disagree. I thought it was fairly interesting. Worst match of the night, hands down, Nikki Bella and Natalya, and it's not really Natalya's fault in any sense, because it's, to me, I don't think it's even Nikki Bella's fault. I think it's the WWE Creative's fault, because they really, when it comes to I've said my piece about it time in and time out about how badly the direction the WWE Divas is going, and Vince McMahon just still having it in his head that WWE Divas are only supposed to be eye candy. They can't be actual in-ring competitors. That's all I got to say about it. That's how uninteresting the Divas match was. So my overall score on Monday Night Raw, the final Monday Night Raw this week, is a 3 out of 5. James, over to you with your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week.
Really, I gotta have to give it a 3 out of 5 myself. The best, I have to agree with you with champion versus champion, Rusev versus Ziggler, because really, all the other ones really never caught up to me. I mean, the ending of that match was predictable, but at least it was entertaining. The worst has to be the Divas title, not the Divas title match. It wasn't a Divas title match, but a Divas match between Natalya and Nikki Bella, because I feel like it's more with Total Divas than the actual Divas Championship, because because Total Divas is coming back this Sunday, and I feel like they could have done a little bit more better with it. Have Natalya get into the Divas title picture. Really, they're going away from what AJ and Paige was doing a few months ago. And basically, my best segment has to be Daniel Bryan. You sneaky, sneaky bastard.
Yeah, but it's hard to disagree with the fact that the overall Divas product is crap, James. You got to agree with that assessment.
Exactly, because really, you're... as we can say again, you're comparing the WWE main roster and the WWE NXT roster and their creative styles with the Divas. NXT's a little better. TNA, it's like NXT, TNA, WWE main roster. It's just, as I said, it's all because of Total Divas. If we don't have Total Divas, it would have been maybe a little better.
All right, finally, we're going to go to Chris and get his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. Chris?
For the score, I'd have to give it about I'd have to go with y'all, a 3 out of 5. And for the best match or segment, for the match, I agree, Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. Very entertaining match, very good back and forth, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. Because if anybody was going to defeat Rusev, after overcoming all the odds, Dolph Ziggler would have been appropriate, but still very good outcome. For worst match, I gotta go with the normal piss break, the Divas match. But on a side note of the Divas match, Tyson Kidd for #1 contender for the Divas title. Because hey, it worked in TNA, but for best segment, it's a toss up. It's a tie for me between Daniel Bryan's announcement and the Edge and Christian thing. For worst segment, toss up between Cesaro coming out there and basically making himself look like an ass, and Cesaro coming out there making himself look like an ass.
Hey, I didn't know the ring had 4 ropes.
Yes, somebody please inform Cesaro that there are only 3 ropes around the ring. And he even said it, 4 sides to the ring. But anyway, guys, gals, what we want to know from you guys out there, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw? Your thoughts to the return of the Authority on Monday Night Raw. Your thoughts on the debut of the Ascension, and also definitely your thoughts on the new tag team champions, the Usos, once again. We definitely want to know what you guys have to say out there. Be sure you put your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that like and follow button, favorite button. And guys and gals, James is over on the Who Dat Temple where they worship homeless people with hamburgers. And James, what you got coming up on Twitch?
I will be doing my usual thing. I am doing my games for PS4, Madden, and the Madden NBA and all this stuff. And also, just a...
Ow, that was loud.
Wow!
Sorry, it hit a coin drop on the ground accidentally. Yeah, I'm going to Raw.
Yep. All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing you on there. And also, ladies and gentlemen, the homeless person that James was sculpting into that temple from Rockin' Ways 11-294, Chris Rogers. Chris, where can everyone check you out?
You can check me out at WWE. I almost said WWE. That would not have been good.
Nope.
www.rockinwaves.com. You can check out our audio-only feed where we're running music for about 10 hours a day. Also, you can, also tomorrow on New Year's Eve, if you're not doing anything, come by rockinwaves.com, where we're going to be live all day with different DJs doing shifts on Rockin' Waves, and just having a good old time and bringing in 2015. And by the way, the tagline of the year, what does the monkey say?
I'm very scared to find out. If you guys listening to us on Spreaker.com, be sure you hit that follow button if you like what you hear. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Facebook.com/WGS-TV. And don't forget to please subscribe to YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and YouTube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for James and the Big Easy and Chris Rogers from Rockin' Waves 11-294, I'm the WrestleGamer, Don't Be Butro, saying Happy New Year and see you later.
Heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails. You must feed the homeless now.